What's up, everybody? Welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs, and today we're going to talk about Mizzou and their win over Abilene Christian. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. All right, guys, so Mizzou's win over ACU, not awe-inspiring. Honestly, there's only so much you can take away from a game against an FCS opponent. Defense, they did roughly what you would expect them to do. The starters were not in danger of giving up a sustained drive for a touchdown. The only thing I'd like to have seen is more pressure on the quarterback. But honestly, that's really all you can say about the defense. Yeah, and it's just because of the opponent. You can't take much away from these games unless it's bad. Moving on to the offense. It's plain that the offensive line cannot get push against anybody. This was the weakest opponent Missouri will face, and they could not get any sort of push on the offensive line. That is incredible. You look at when Missouri had the ball 3rd and 1, right around midfield. They tried, the patented, let's line up and act like we know what we're doing, and tried to get the short yardage kind of play for the first down. Didn't work. And everybody in the stadium knew exactly what was going to happen and knew that it would fail, and it did. And then Drink, on 4th and 1, tried to draw him off sides and then punted. More than the fact that they couldn't even do it is the fact that Drink sent a signal out to everybody watching that he knows his offensive line cannot get push against an FCS team. That is incredible. That should be an automatic, we're just going to go for it here, very casual, bulldoze for a couple of yards. That's what a competent SEC team does against an FCS team. And Drink knows that he can't do it. It's not even there's some doubt, we're not that good. He knows he can't. That said, I do disagree with the decision. Even if he knows it's probably not going to work. This was something that David brought up when we were talking about the game yesterday. I would have liked to have seen them go for it, if for no other reason than it would have kind of driven home the point of, you know what, we are bigger, faster, stronger, meaner, tougher than this team, and we're just going to impose our will. That's an attitude that has to be developed. And by not going for it, that attitude is not becoming part of Missouri's identity. And I think that has to be a part of any successful team's identity, along the offensive line especially. So that's really disheartening. The takeaway going forward is that Missouri's offense is going to have to adjust the scheme and the play calling. The play calling, you can only do so much. It's not like you can run a slant to Luther Burden every single play. You can do it more, but you can't do it every single play. You cannot do a quick pitch outside the tackle box to Nate Pete every single play. But running in between the tackles more than 2 yards is almost an accident at this point, and that's what's going to happen against SEC defenses. So Missouri really has to change and get creative in terms of the play calling, and then scheme. The tight ends are invisible in the passing game, so if it were me, I would just figure out which tight end is the best blocker and just play him. I'd go with a lot of formations with a tight end added to the end of the line. I'd go with a lot of formations with an extra offensive lineman in there. And Missouri really doesn't have a choice but to do that, because just lining up 5 offensive linemen versus a front 4 and the linebackers, front 7, whatever, not going to work. So Missouri has to scheme and play call around it. They don't have a choice. The only other takeaway from this game is that Coach Drink screwed up personnel decision making again. Same thing with quarterback in 2020 when he started the wrong guy and everybody knew it very quickly except him. Everybody was wondering, why did Luther Burden not go out there as a punt returner the first couple games? When Chris Abrams-Drain refused to even touch a ball and gave up 60 yards of field position in a single game? Well, that decision looks even more idiotic, given the fact that the first time Luther Burden touched the ball as a punt returner, he goes untouched for a touchdown. Some people were complaining, well, he didn't catch the ball either. Well, those punts were 20 yards in front of him. Running up and trying to catch the ball like that, that's dangerous. That's how you get turnovers and muff punts. So if they're just that far in front of him, sure, he's going to let it roll. And if there's room to run, then, well, you know what? He's Luther Burden. He's more talented than anybody else on the roster. He's more talented than anybody else on the other team's roster, more than likely. And that'll include SEC play, obvious exceptions being like Georgia. So, yeah. That's incredible. And same thing with punter. Sean Kading, just brutal as a punter all season. They finally made the switch there, and it looks a little better. Jack Stonehouse, I think, is his name. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't know the backup punter, now starting punter's name. Stonehouse, I'm pretty sure, is it. Looks like Drink picked the wrong guy there, too. And I don't know how Drink can develop a track record, how anyone can develop a track record of watching two guys and then choosing the wrong one to be the starter. But he has shown a propensity to do that. That needs to change rapidly. Lastly, I want to mention that I would have played Sam Horn when Missouri got the ball with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It was 31-10. Not, the 40-50 point massacre that I think people were expecting, but 3 touchdown lead, half a quarter to go. I would have gotten Sam Horn in there. I think the assumption is that once he learns the playbook and he's ready, that he's probably going to be the starter because he's just got more gifts and more talent than Brady Cook. If that doesn't happen this year, you're talking about going into next season with a starting quarterback who has never played a down of college football. That's what Mizzou's facing, and that is just terrible team management, personnel management, if that ends up being the case. We'll see. But Drink has opened himself up to that by leaving Brady Cook out there until the very last series when Jack Abraham just handed the ball off a couple times. Tavares Jones did get a couple carries, so good to see that freshman get a little bit of work. That's all I've got for this video, guys. Mizzou headed to Auburn next. SEC play. I don't know what to think about Missouri going into SEC play. But we'll preview Auburn, that game later this week. We'll talk about the Cardinals more. And hey, Blues hockey's coming too. So keep it tuned here to Under the Arch Sports. See you guys next time.